I'm Lara Maynard from Heritage NL.
And I am Dot O'Brien, mom to Andrea O'Brien of Heritage NL.
And they're from
Cape Broyle
on the southern shore.
on the southern shore, on the Irish Loop. Today we're going to make molasses taffy, also known as molasses candy in our day. And on St. Patrick's Day, it was a tradition to make molasses taffy candy because of the long days of Lent that you spent abstaining from candy. So St. Patrick's Day was the break in Lent when you could have your sweet candy. And it goes back a couple of generations, probably since the people came from Ireland, I'm not sure. But it goes back a long way to making the taffy on St. Patrick's Day.
And that's in your hometown?
That's in my hometown of Cape Broyle. Now, other places probably had different traditions or different reasons for making the taffy, but that was our reason.
I heard from a woman in Pooch Cove, and at Easter time they made molasses candy.
Oh,
But I don't know if they made them at St. Patrick's Day, but they made them at Easter. So it's a celebration thing, I guess.
Well, it's still connected to the Lenten season,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
Because that's the end of the Lenten season. We made it sort of in the middle of the Lenten season.
Yeah. So you sort of be breaking your Lenten fast. Yeah. And the recipe that we're trying first is from the Crosby Molasses Family Favorites on page 73. So our ingredients, we've got a half cup of fancy molasses, not blackstrap molasses. We've got 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, which is your regular white sugar. We have vinegar, regular white vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons. We've got a half cup of water. We've got a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. That's the stuff in the little jar. And we've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda and 4 tablespoons of butter. So where do we go from here?
Okay, the first 4 ingredients, the molasses, the sugar, the vinegar, and the water, go into the saucepan. Or as we call it, the dipper.
The dipper.
Now, I'm going to add the water next to wash out the molasses. You won't lose any molasses doing this. I always do this when I make molasses bread. I clean out the molasses container with the water.
That's a good tip.
And then we have the sugar. We have the sugar to add to this. And the vinegar.
And the vinegar. Yep.
And then we give it a good stir.
So we can get
And
everything
we place it
to dissolve.
everything to mix together good. Bring it to a boil.
So we've got it on low. I'm going to turn it up to a medium. And we'll watch it for a while.
As you know, molasses can very easily burn, so it has to be watched.
Now do we need full-on boil bubbles?
See, it doesn't say, it just says to cook until a small amount tried in the cold water is brittle.
So there's
So
two
when we
ways
start
test it.
to see it bubble, we could try it,
Yeah.
and then if it doesn't harden, we could boil it another bit.
Now we've got a candy thermometer, and the recipe does say
Yes.
that the brittle stage is 256 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll try the thermometer, and we'll also try the cold water test. So what else did you do on the Southern Shore for St. Patrick's Day?
We had a St. Patrick's Day concert and a dance afterwards.
And what was in your concert?
Was usually, sometimes they actually had a 3-act play, if they could come up with one like that related to St. Patrick's Day, or if not, it was variety. and it was usually an adult concert. Children didn't.
Oh, children didn't go?
No, it was usually an adult concert.
Right.
And then that was the day the men could also have their drink. A lot of them gave it up for Lent. And St. Patrick's Day was their break day to have their drink.
So it's a bit like when people go on diets these days and they have a cheat day.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
your cheat
That was
day.
our cheat day for candy and for the men. I don't know why we always said the men. We didn't really realise that time that
But
maybe some of the women would like a little drop too. But 8 o'clock in the morning was the St. Patrick's Day Mass.
Right.
St. Patrick's Day was a holy day of obligation in them days. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, we all got dressed. If we had anything green, your bandana. Of course, in them days, you had to wear your bandana at Mass.
You had to have your head covered
Right.
if you were a woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you had a bandana, or if not, if you had some little shamrock to put in, or the older people, I always used to wait for this old couple that used to come to Mass on St. Patrick's morning, because they had real shamrocks in their coats. They'd cut off their shamrock plant, and they wore the real shamrocks in their coats. And I always used to admire that they actually came with real shamrocks.
It's boiling.
It is actually
All right,
boiling.
so let's test it. So we're looking for 256 degrees. So try the brittle test, the cold water test. You can leave it on. We'll take some, and this is cold water I put in the fridge or refrigerator, the freezer part. I'm gonna put in some. Well, and if it holds together, it's ready, and if it doesn't, it's not. So this part of it held and part of it squished, so maybe it's not quite ready yet. So what was in the variety concert?
A skit and singing and dancing, bit of everything.
What kinds of songs do you remember? Any?
A lot of Irish songs on St. Patrick's Day. And Mother's Love is a Blessing was the famous one.
That's one of those
That was
that you either
always-
love it or hate it.
Yeah. That was always sung on St. Patrick's Day, Mother's Love is a Blessing.
Yeah. Do you think?
And there was a lot of anyone who could play the accordion, there was a lot of accordion music. And step dancing. We had really good step dancers at Cape Broyle at that time.
Oh yes.
So step dancing was really popular for the concerts.
Who were your good step dancers?
We had the O'Briens, Charlie and Wilfred, and we had some people from Shorescope, the Carews from Shorescope. They were really good dancers, step dancers.
And children weren't allowed because it might be a bit bawdy, or?
They weren't on the concert. They were allowed to come to the concert.
Oh, they weren't in the
They
concert.
They didn't actually take part in the concert, but they
Right.
were allowed to be present there.
Okay. Okay, so this is really boiling again. So it's all bubbly.
And Dot, where did you learn how to make molasses candy?
My grandmother. When I got a bit older, I would go down there on St. Patrick's Day, and she showed me how. She used to do it actually, and I watched her.
What
And
was
she
her
sent
name?
it out. She used to cool it off by putting it in the snow. So I was the one that went out and found the clean snow to put it in.
What was your grandmother's name?
Matilda Rice,
And what did you call her?
Granny
Rice.
Rice.
And when you made the molasses candy, did you eat it right away?
Oh
Or did-
yes,
yeah.
definitely.
So it didn't last very long.
Well, Granny kept some for herself,
Mhm.
of course, because people used to come to her place for a card game, and I guess she saved some for when her card game players came, and she gave me the rest to take home.
Mhm. Definitely hardened right away.
Yes, you can see it hardening.
So, it looks like this method is pretty reliable as well. Okay, I think we're done.
Okay, we have to remove it now and add the next 3 ingredients. We add the butter,
4 tablespoons of
4
butter.
tablespoons of butter.
And that's going to melt pretty fast in
Oh
there.
yes, and our cream of tartar and our baking soda.
So we've got a buttered cooking sheet. So we buttered this ahead of time. Just sprayed some butter thinly, or spread some butter thinly. So we've got to let this cool enough that we can
touch it. That's going to be long.
That's the fun part.
I think that's where we were sent to the snowbank.
Yes. Alright, so it's cool and we'll be able to handle it. Butter our hand. You go first. Good and buttered, okay?
Yes, good and buttered.
All moisturized, like a spot. Oh, it came up easy. See how quickly it cooled in the snow? Oh yeah. The snow is the trick, because mine didn't work as easy at all.
My grandmother knew the trick.
No, she's making a taffy snake.
Now do you want to take half?
Yes, you show me how you pull it.
Now it has to be cooled again before you cut it, right?
Okay.
It has to get hardened before you cut. So we could probably put it outside and let it cool again, because that's a good idea. Now you just take this, and when it's cool and hardened,
Okay, so you stop at this point.
yeah, and then you just cut it and make your candy.
The
You go ahead and I'll
second
cut.
cooling happened, and you are just cutting the taffy snakes, we'll call them, or taffy logs, with scissors and laying on some wax paper.
Now you cut yours too.
Okay, cut mine too. Oh yeah. Is it too early to taste it?
No, of course not. Go ahead. Really sweet or what?
Mm-mm.
Good?
It's buttery and molasses-y. Is molasses-y a word?
Yes, we'll make it a word today.
That's good. It's like caramel.
Mm-hmm.
Like caramel molasses. Buttery molasses caramel.
Okay, all them adjectives are good.
Who was your good singers for your St. Patrick's Day concert?
My mom was always on it, never missed.
Did she have
She had
certain songs that she liked
had
to do?
Yes, she always sang "Oh Grandma," "A Woman's Tongue." There were two of her favourites that she sang. And herself and her first cousin used to sing when we were sweet 16.
Well, thank you, Dot. We've got a lot of wrapping to do.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.